All right, we're about 15 people, and it's exactly 10:01. That gives us a right to start. I know it's very cold, so even as we start, I want you to tell us in the chat section, how you're keeping warm in this Nairobi weather? If you're a coffee lover, do you have a cup of coffee next to you? The tea guys, the porridge people, just tell us in the chat, what are you doing to keep warm this morning? Yes, and a warm welcome to today's session on accreditation with TechPalate Insights. At TechPalate Insights, we talk about food safety, quality, innovation, and technology. I'm your host today, Catherine Odhiambo. I help food innovators find the right words and the right ways to reach the people who need to hear them. And today we are hosting a very insightful session on a topic that most people usually confuse and don't get clarity enough. That is a topic on accreditation. And we're so honored to have the only, underline, the only body in Kenya and even outside Kenya that is authorized to give accreditation, not just to laboratories, but even to certification bodies and testing bodies. And with us today, we'll be having Lucy Namu, and we also have Ian Oche. I'm not sure if Joyce is with us, but Lucy is going to be guiding us. And Ian will also step in to answer the Q&A. But before that, let me just read what you're saying in the charts. Kegode Johnston, he's in Mombasa and the weather is favorable. By the way, Kegode, is the weather ever cold in Mombasa? Or you are ever just experiencing warm weather over there? Yes? If you can hear me, just kindly unmute and tell us. Do you ever experience this Nairobi weather over there? Kegode, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Tell us, do you ever experience this Nairobi weather over there in Mombasa?
That Nairobi weather is really terrible. Here in Mombasa, it's slightly favorable, not that cold. And nowadays, it ain't that hot, so at least we are managing.
Yeah. Geoffrey, you're not getting me?
I think Geoffrey must be having a network issue, because I can hear you properly and I can note that other people can hear you properly. So I think it's a problem on his end.
You almost gave me a heart attack. All right, Grace Mueni from Kisumu. It's rainy and cold. I know. What are you doing to keep warm, Grace? Do you have some cup of porridge with you, coffee? What are you doing to keep warm? I have some warm water with me here. Yes, so what are you doing to keep warm? Okay. Who else? You know, I'm giving more people time to join so they don't say, oh, you started without me. But if they delay, you're going to give them some FOMO. You know FOMO, fear of missing out. Yes, that's what you're going to give them today. And while we are at it, I've seen Cyril has also joined. Yes, just some housekeeping rules to note. We have some emojis over there and I want you to use them properly today. If you're loving what our guest is going to say, you're going to give them some fire, some thumbs up, some love. The chat section is also open. You can throw in your questions, your takeaways. If there's a hot point over there, you can also do that. If you have a question, you can also raise your hand and I'll give you the opportunity to go on. Better yet, you're also free to take a screenshot of this while the session is ongoing and tweet about it or post it on LinkedIn or any of your social media network. I want to see who's going to do a good job today, and I might just give you a surprise from TechPalate. A little bit about the session rundown today. We are going to start with a presentation from Lucy Namu, and then from there, we are also going to get some insights from Quality Labs on how their journey towards accreditation has been. And of course, the Q&A session, you guys submitted a whole lot of questions. I'm going to throw some of them to Lucy and Ian. And in case you feel there is an area that has not been addressed, you can always feel free to raise your hand. Don't wait until the very end. You can always just raise your hand and I'll give you a chance, okay? Right. So now, over to our speakers.
Catherine,
Yes?
let me
Yes?
introduce. Let me. As per protocol, I need
Yes.
to introduce Lucy because she's
Yeah.
my boss, and then now she can start.
Yes, that's where I'm going exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
So good
Now
morning, everyone.
over to Ian. You can introduce Lucy, and then the session will be hers.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for taking your time to be part and parcel of this. This is actually a huge advantage for you members who have been part and parcel of this, because you're going to gain knowledge on accreditation. And it's one
Ian,
of those
are you
things.
able to turn on your camera?
No. Sadly, my camera has an issue. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right.
So this accreditation is basically not taught even in tertiary education. You're not taught accreditation, just like they will not be taught certification. These are things which you learn when you're on the job. So for example, if you're a food scientist and you're in a laboratory which is accredited to ISO IEC 17025, that is a standard which basically focuses on accreditation of testing laboratories. Remember, there are different types of laboratories. There are testing laboratories and there are also medical laboratories. So ISO have made standards which are specific to different cadres. When it comes to medical laboratories, which deals with humans, it's ISO 15189, because we deal with blood, stool, urine, cerebrospinal fluid, basically testing samples from humans. When it comes to 17025, it's testing for food, cement, and just general testing in terms of material. And we also have ISO 2387, which deals with biobanking. It's a form of testing, but it's not specifically that close to the other two which I've mentioned. Basically focuses on genetic materials. The person who I'm introducing right now is the Chief Manager, Testing and Medical and Testing Department. She's our Chief Manager. She's highly versed in the testing area. She's been in the government for a while. Right now, she's still there with us in Kenya Accreditation Service. My request to every member who's in part and parcel of who's here, kindly listen keenly. Listen very keenly. We don't want her, when she moves from one slide to another, you miss out on anything. Try your best to understand, and if you have any questions, please ask during the Q&A. So have your notebook there and your biro. Write your question. There is no bad question. Now, I think we've gotten quorum. I hereby introduce Lucy Namu, Chief Manager, Testing and Medical Laboratories. Karibu sana, Lucy. Please impart your knowledge to people.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you for that kind introduction. And thank you very much, Catherine, for organizing this webinar. I'm sure, and I hope, it is my prayer that all of us will go with something really wonderful, really wonderful. Something that we'll be able to say, I didn't know that. And we will then be able to, of course, improve the lives of Kenyans. It's about really improving our lives to Kenyans. Yeah. I don't know whether this will show. Can you see my screen at all?
Yes, you can.
You can see the full screen now.
Yes.
Very good, very good. So I want to start, and really just to reiterate that this is intended specifically for you for this webinar. As I've been introduced, my name is Lucy Namu. Maybe my background. I started out actually trained as a biochemist, and a lot of the work that I have done has been for 25 years before I joined KENAS in the sector of agriculture. So a lot of it was developing the food lab that we had. You would call it a food lab, but it was really food, soil, water, environmental testing and all lab. And also then improving the systems, quality management systems for the lab for reliability of results. And we'll see why. I'll talk a bit about that. I think the later part of my 25 years was more in trade. I also became an expert for Africa in risk assessment for pesticide residues and contaminants, as well as technical expert in trade, in particular, the agreement on sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So I hope we can share with one another some good insights. And the presentation is outlined, and as I always like to say, I'm passionate about food that I really, really love. I've grown in. So the outline is really looking at the outline happens and how they work, and then looking, of course, at our place in labs, the overview that we have of KENAS services, and then the detail of application for accreditation, and a nice popper at the end that we will look at. So I think just reflecting, if you within Africa, 91 million out of 1.55 billion population. You can imagine out of those, a third global death due to foodborne disease. So really, this is a very important.
See, there's something. Okay, I think it's Rebecca. Rebecca, please mute.
Are you able to mute? Are you able to?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but you're breaking a bit.
Let me just make sure that I have standby Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Okay, is it
now
better?
I can hear you clearly, yes.
Okay. So really, foodborne diseases.
Wi-Fi off for you.
Foodborne diseases then are really a threat to the livelihoods of Africans and many others. More so looking at children, you know, the kind of lives that we take away, snipped in the bud before they can even bear fruit. So governments then need to have been increasing policies to enhance food control systems, to protect the public and reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses, protecting consumers, of course, from bad food, whether it be unsanitary, unwholesome, adulterated, and therefore contributing to the well-being. You know, a healthy human being is a productive human being, ultimately. Just looking back at what has been happening in Kenya, of course, you've seen all this in the press. There was consumer alerts on exports that are creating a local health crisis. If the export market is rejecting commodities, why should we then in Kenya be saying that the food is good for us to eat? You know, it's like having differential standards. At the same time, being an export country, and we really do make a lot of money, good money for farmers and the people in the business, in the industry, there was a time, and there still is a time, continues to be a time when the quality, the safety, I would like to say, the safety of our food has been put to question. Looking also afield with respect to international trade, spices have been a subject of adulteration. You know, you put in some malachite green to make it look redder, the paprika looks nicer, people even want to fill it up, you know, so that you have less of the spice, but more of something to sell, you know. At the same time, You remember about now 12 years ago, there was the horse meat scare. That is a species substitution. People are given horse meat. Now anafikirini beef. So who's fooling who over there, right? So looking then at the food control system, what does it need to have? It has the backbone, which is the rules, the regulations, that is the food legislation. But to support the implementation, you must have the services that go in all that. You have education, communication, information to the populace, to the producers, informing them of what they need to do to improve their systems. Then you have food management, which is central focus. What does it control and what does it coordinate? Inspection services. Inspection that you have heard Ian about is also one of the areas of accreditation. And also very critical, the lab services. So lab services are what we will perhaps look a little more into, but also touching on the other conformity assessment activities, which are testing, inspection, and certification. It's good you keep that in mind because the three are conformity assessment activities, meaning it is an activity that is undertaken to find out whether something falls in line with an expected criteria or in line with an expected standard. Okay? Now, so labs in this case, then the role of testing in food control is to make sure that we're not testing every item. We're looking at the essential of having a credible food control and food production that then leads to wholesome food. The population eats wholesome food. Testing assures us that all the measures that we put in place to make sure we have wholesome food, clean food, safe food are actually working the way they should, because we know we can put in place measures, but sometimes the measures do not actually work the way they are intended. So the essential of a lab result is that it must be accurate, reliable, and timely, because it then informs us whether the measures we have put in place are really working. Are they really serving the purpose for which we said we would? If we say hand wash, is it really serving that purpose? If we say wash and clean to this level, are we sure that that cleaning is actually taking away the might that we intended to, or taking away what was targeted? If we say process at this heat, at the end of it, are we achieving the results we wanted? So then lab services are important to make sure that the standards and norms are adhered to. There's monitoring that goes on of those norms, and this is done through the lab services. They need adequate facilities, therefore, for the physical, microbiological, or chemical testing that is required to give that assurance. Out of all this, then how can you be sure that the lab results can be relied upon? Accreditation and quality assurance ensure that there is reliable, accurate results that are legally defensible. So one of the questions that many people ask is accreditation. What then is it? We're talking of accreditation, and then we know there is certification. What is the difference? Certification focuses on compliance with a system. We said we would do this at a certain time. We have done. We have complied. We have to put this in place. We have put it in place. We have complied. But accreditation focuses on the confirmation of competence. Have we done in such a way, have we undertaken a test in such a way that we have confirmed that we can competently repeat it time and time again to do that test, to do the inspection, or to do the certification, which means there's obviously a set criteria that is looked at, okay? So accreditation focuses on competence, and that is the main difference. Accreditation is also the high level standards that we implement. They are the ones that look at, are we implementing standards consistently? You know, you will have standards that we can have a certificate to say, yes, I comply with the standard. That is now part of the certification. But in accreditation, we are focusing on competence. Okay. I go now to what then does KENAS do? What are the services? Ultimately, the new KENAS mandate is in the KENAS Act. I call it new because there's some change in the Act, Cap 496A, Section 6, where the main focus is assessing and accrediting to confirm that competence.
Hi, Lucy. Can I interrupt you a bit? Are you moving your slides?
Yes, I am. Oops.
We are not seeing them moving over
Okay.
here.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Let me reshare it. It must mean that
Now it has moved.
it has moved.
Yes, you are seeing the new KENAS mandate.
Yes, new KENAS mandate, which is the KENAS. I was talking about the KENAS Act, which is Kenya Accreditation Service Act, Cap 496A. Under Section 6, we are mandated to undertake assessment and accreditation. And now, accreditation is mandatory for all conformity assessment bodies. What are those? Those who do tests, whether it be medical testing or testing of other parameters or calibration, and those who do inspection and those who do certification. Like, for example, we will have a look at some of the certification activities within the East Africa community to enhance our regional integration, of course, under the SQMT Act, which is the Standardization, Quality Assurance, Metrology and Testing Act. We actually have a role as a national accreditation body in fulfillment of the agreement that we have under the EAC SQMT Act to make sure that there is ease of movement of goods and services across border, utilizing accreditation as a pillar. So what services do we offer? First, of course, we've talked about accreditation and length, but we also offer training services. We train people, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, train people to make sure that they know how to implement the standards, how to implement the quality management system to get accredited. We also offer information services on how you can do that, or to bodies that are inquiring to find out, is this person really accredited in this area? That is a very critical service for accuracy of information. And then scheme development, which is really the business development arm of KENAS, looking at new areas of building on schemes, like you heard Ian talk about biobanking. It looks at supporting research in holding of genetic resource material and exchange, right? Now, that is a new scheme. So what are the schemes we have so far? We've talked about 17025. I think Ian talked about this. This is accreditation for calibration and testing lab. If you're doing testing or if you're doing calibration, and I'm not talking about where you're taking your balance. You yourself would be a lab that is actually undertaking that calibration for various persons. There's also the medical testing under 51.
Hi, Lucy. The slides are not moving again.
Oh dear.
I think you have to keep on moving them manually.
Yes, I have to. I have to keep manually moving them now. Oh dear. Okay. Can you see them now?
Yes, we are in accreditation schemes.
Schemes, good. Please do let me know when you do not see. Medical testing is also a very, very large scheme that has, you can imagine when you visit a hospital, ask yourself, is that lab accredited? Are you sure that the test that you're getting out of the lab for your diagnosis, is that lab really accredited? And therefore, are they competent to do the test, right? Now, inspection bodies, we talked about inspection, and that accreditation is against ISO IEC 17020 for proficiency testing providers that really are an anchor for calibration testing. Medical labs as well, and in some instances inspection, are a scheme that we accredit proficiency test providers to. Now, product certification, very interesting that you're all in in industry, food industry. And this is something that you would want to consider. As a producer of a product, you would want to have an accreditation of that process. If it is a unique product that you would want to sell, and actually even leverage on having accreditation, because then there are benefits to that, and we'll see what that is. Certification of persons, like for example, one of the bodies that we have accredited is the Kenya Medical and Dentist Practitioners Council. They are the first medical body to be certified in Africa by KENAS. So you can see we really do have a great interest in improving the livelihoods of Kenyans. Now you know a doctor who is registered by KMPDC actually comes from a body that is recognized internationally through accreditation. Then there are management system certifications. All the bodies that do ISO 9001 certification, for example, for you, those are the bodies that we accredit, or those that do certification for food safety management system 22,000, ISO 22,000, or occupational health and safety management system. Those are the bodies that we accredit. And indeed, it is good that you ask yourself, the body that is offering you certification for 9001 or food safety management system, are they accredited? You must ask that question, because then it might mean you're dealing with a body that does not even give you the benefit of that certification. Yeah. Can you see my screen now? Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see, Lucy.
Good. We're now on the role of international recognition. And I think I've talked about accreditation offering you international recognition. How does that work?
Move it to the next slide.
To the next slide. Can you see it now?
No, we are still seeing the accreditation schemes.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah. I see that. I see that. Okay. So the role now, international recognition is an arrangement, as KENAS is an arrangement member and a signatory to those arrangements where accreditation bodies recognize internationally the results from all accredited bodies by those accreditation bodies who are signatory. So for you, if you have a lab that is accredited, that lab test result will be acceptable and recognized across border. So what does it mean? It provides confidence in results, supporting food safety testing, inspection, and all, ensuring at least there is a credible, reliable outcome that has been scrutinized by a body that understands the requirements. Locally, of course, you are providing for health, safety, and environmental assurance for your population, so that everybody who is also visiting a lab, a medical facility that has a lab that is accredited, gets results that can be relied upon. We are also then ultimately facilitating trade, because then you reduce the need for retesting. This product was tested in Kenya. Oh no, we don't recognize that lab. We have to test again to confirm. Accreditation reduces that need, because the test result or the outcome of all accredited bodies are accepted everywhere. And the mantra is accredited ones, accepted everywhere. So that once you're accredited, you know that an accredited lab in Kenya will be equivalent as one that is accredited in Europe, in a country in Europe, or in a country within the region, right? Now I don't know whether it has moved. Let me move manually. I talked about now.
Can we have it in presentation mode? I've seen somebody has requested, Franklin, can we have the slides in presentation mode?
Okay. So there's transition training, and this is when a standard has changed to a new version. We We train people who are accredited on how to move to the new standard. Implementation training for all the standards that we credit against. So if you're looking to be accredited, for example, against IYC 17025, we do offer that training for all of you. We also do the training for internal audit, because you always have to look at your system. Is it continuously improving? Is it meeting the expectation of the standard? Risk management training is also part of the implementation of standards when we offer that training too. Method validation and certainty of measurement results, so that you understand how to manage whatever errors come within your testing and how to report that. And then overall, laboratory management quality control practice, just good practice in labs, how to even think about implementing a quality management system. Right? We also have other courses that include documentation, how to document your system, root cause analysis when you have been told you have non-conformances, to understand what is adequate and comprehensive root cause and corrective action. And then finally, we also train assessors when we need to enhance the pool of assessors who can undertake the work for us to support the technical part component of some of the work we do. Now, I want to go to the accreditation process, because we're in this together, isn't it? We start by getting an inquiry. You can all give me a call. And from that inquiry, we give you what is expected. I hope you can see. Can you see the slides? Here we are. Let me change it manually. Right. So after the inquiry, whether it be telephone, email, or from the website, we then give you...
Lucy, can you expand your slides?
Expand?
Yes.
Okay, there, maybe full screen?
Presentation mode. Do you have a presentation mode over here?
It means it has frozen. I think it means it has frozen. Let me share again. Let me just share. Yeah. Share again. Huh? I think it has frozen. Yeah, here we are. It has frozen. So I hope you can see it.
So,
and
is there an option? I think I'm seeing some 4 lines just below there. What happens when you click on that?
Which 4 lines? Oh, right. 4 lines.
No, that. Okay.
These 4 lines.
Move. The
Okay.
third one just below it. After notes, and then we have the first one, and then we have the second one. There are like 4 boxes.
Oh, those. Now, it doesn't show me the way.
Okay, someone has said, please, okay, you go to slideshow, then carry on with the presentation. Okay, I'm seeing, yes, I'm seeing a slideshow on your screen.
Has it worked?
Go to slideshow.
I have, then there must be a problem.
Just
here.
up. On the menu.
Yeah. Oh dear. Have you seen the full slide?
Yes, we are seeing all the slides, but now
full slide.
Go to the next one. Slideshow.
Oh dear, it's not
You've
working.
seen the slideshow?
Yes, I have, but it's not working.
It's not working.
Okay, let me do this. Let me stop sharing and share again.
Okay.
Because I think the window is not really, it's I don't know whether it's the app or what. Yeah.
I'm not used to using, what is it called?
Well, Google Meet.
Not Google Meet. Is it what slides? The one you're using for presenting. I'm used to using
Presentation,
Google
PowerPoint?
Slides. Yes, PowerPoint. I'm not used to using PowerPoint. I'm used to Google Slides, yes, and maybe Canva. So there's a slideshow on the home menu where we have home, insert, draw, design, and then we have slideshow.
Up here.
No, just below that. Yes, sir. You're seeing transitions, animations. Just move towards the right. Yes, there, slideshow. And then
Current slide. Is it better?
you
Is that
present.
better?
Use presenter view. I'm seeing there's an option to use presenter view over there.
Present in Teams? No. No.
Use presenter view on
This
the rightmost part. Yes. From what? From current slide. Which current slide are you in?
This one.
Okay. Try clicking on that. We see what's going to happen.
No, I clicked in. Did you see? Have you seen?
No, I'm still seeing all your slides in one place.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone can help us out?
It's a freeze because every time I do that,
Freezes.
yes. Which must
Oh, then you just have to use the mode you were using previously.
If you just share the screen, if you share the screen, then you keep the cursor on the presentation and then you put it on slideshow. So ensure the cursor is always on the screen so that you can just click over. You can scroll over with the drop down button on your PC.
Share the screen. I share the screen and then the cursor is always on the screen. I share.
Yeah, you can get, yeah.
And
then we'll go presentation. Of course, put it to one slide.
has it worked?
It's not on presentation mode.
It's not catching on.
No.
Has it worked?
Right.
Has it worked?
Not yet.
No, because you are playing all the screens in one, so you have to click not on the 4 buttons, on the one. Right.
These meeting tools. Maybe it's a feature. Ian, are you tech savvy on what I should do with Google Meet?
Actually, the issue is not even Google Meet. I think the issue is PowerPoint.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But PowerPoint is no problem.
So
Because I can see what she's doing is actually correct. I'm trying to figure out why it's not.
You can go back to explain your screen. You have to share the screen again.
well, this is just something else. I think our next one must be in Teams then.
Oh, Cyril wants to demonstrate. Kindly go ahead, Cyril.
Cyril?
Yes, he wants to demonstrate. So, yes, sir. You can share your screen, Cyril. Since Lucy's not.
Okay. Okay. I had a bit left and I really want to do it. Shall I share it with you, Catherine, on WhatsApp? Huh? Let me send you an email.
Okay.
It's just a little bit left. It's just a small bit left.
Go ahead, Cyril.
Yeah.
He wants to show us how it's done. Go ahead. Oh my God, what has happened? He has stopped sharing.
Okay, I have sent you the presentation. If it's gonna work on your side, just open it if you've got it. Have you got
Not
it?
Yet. Not yet.
Oh dear. Or could it be then the internet? I don't know. Yeah. We're just coming to the tail end of it anyway.
Yeah. Can someone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
It's
We can,
actually,
Peter.
yes.
You can see a screen on food
Yeah.
safety.
Yes.
So you can see
Yes.
I'm placing the cursor on the. You can see where my cursor is moving normal.
Mhm.
So
Where
if
is it? Some of us have eye issues.
I go presentation mode like that, and then I keep my cursor here. If I just keep on moving like this, are you seeing it moving?
Peter, you're
Yeah,
moving too fast. I haven't seen what you've done.
Yes.
You don't see what
Yes.
I've done. Okay, now this is I've just opened the PowerPoint. So now the PowerPoint is like that. So I'm on the first slide.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
guys, focus on the cursor where he's putting the cursor.
You see where the cursor is? Yes.
Yeah.
So down here, you see it's just beside the left.
Oh,
You can see it where it
so I
is.
don't put full screen. That is what you
Now,
have also.
so now I'm going to my
The
presentation mode,
slideshow.
the slideshow. So if I put it like that, then see my cursor. Are you seeing my cursor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But that
Just
is
do one
actually
click. If you just do one, if you just keep my cursor there, then I use the drop down on your computer, the drop down button. But if I do that, it keeps moving. Are you seeing it moving? When I do that,
Yeah.
it gives moving. to the next.
Catherine, have you been able to get Madam Lucy's
Like that. It's
presentation?
Not really.
Yeah.
Lucy,
Not
would
really.
you open it to me? Then I can assist her on my end, so that we can move, so
Yeah.
that the other people can be able to do their presentations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The sharing.
Okay. I have sent it to you, Ian.
You've sent via mail, yeah?
Yes, via mail.
Okay, give me a minute.
Or is it the internet here? Have you got it?
Not yet. I'm refreshing, but not yet. Hold on. Yeah, I've gotten it. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that small mishap.
Yeah.
And,
Yes. Yes.
we apologize.
Yeah.
Give me a few.
Maybe as you wait on that, you can also type in the chat what you've learned so far, or you can unmute and tell us what has been your light bulb moment so far, your aha moment from what Lucy has shared. Do you know the difference between accreditation and certification now? Do you know what KENAS does? Do you know who is accredited? Talk to me in the chat, so just raise your hand and tell us what have you learned so far. Or is it too cold? You guys don't want to talk. Yes, what have you learned so far? Joy, Sheila, Bridget. I'll just mention the people you can see on my screen. Peter raised his hand. Yes, Peter.
Yeah, from my end, one thing I always like about KENAS is because the online service. The online service is so good that you can be able to get most of what you want from there. And I like her emphasis on the fact that the main focus is on competency. Yes, yeah, I like that.
Thank
Slide
you.
number 23. Yeah.
Click the
23.
first button down
Yeah.
there. The four dots,
Yes.
the one on the yes, on the left.
Oh, now I know what Lucy you're going through, by the way.
Yeah. So what is it? What is the problem? Go back and click the 4 boxes.
Click the 4 boxes on the left.
To get
Boxes. Yeah, and those 4 boxes.
This one.
No, you click the other one on the left.
This one.
Yes, yes.
Because I was trying to double click here.
Just click on that. If you click on that first one, then you go to slideshow. It should be able to move it down.
Yes. Slideshow is this one here.
Yes.
Yeah. The little box thing with a dash in the middle.
This
I
one.
don't know. Yeah.
Can you see my cursor?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see.
Here.
Yeah.
That will play. That will still display the four slides. In the 6 slides. You press the first one on the left, on the 4 slides. The most left. More left.
Okay. Can I ask? Because right now, I'll be honest with you, I have 2 cursors. Now, there is a cursor which you can see it on the PowerPoint presentation, and then I have another cursor which is here. So this
Exactly. We can see the hand on the the cursor on the presentations now.
Yes, that cursor. You look to the left.
Yeah. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. There's something, I don't know what it is.
Leave the cursor on the presentation. This cursor that is
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Can somebody hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you, Cyril.
Okay, let me try and demonstrate. I think I can see where the problem is. So let me just try and present my screen. Okay. So here, let me share my screen.
Okay.
May you please close yours so that I can share and demonstrate.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay, that is very weird, Lucy. We've been doing presentations for very long.
So
I'm
long.
guessing we are not fast with Google Meet. I don't know what is happening.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, you go to the 4 icons. Sorry, you go to the 4 icons here. There is this one which shows slide sorter, and then there's the first one. So if I press this, that is where we are right now. Yeah, but go back and press this one. Then after that, then you can go to the slide presentation there, and then you just click and you continue.
Okay. Let's see. Let me try. I will try again. Let me try again quickly. I hope I'll be able to get to I share. Have you seen my slides?
Mm-hmm.
You know you can't poke that dot inside the Google Meet. You have to go back to your presentation, and that's where I think everything is just going south. So not the slideshow sorter, we go right into slideshow. Have you seen? Can you see? What can you see?
What you do, Lucy, in my opinion, just because of time, just zoom. You see it's on 49%. Just zoom it, as long as the people can be able to see it. Just zoom it to a point whereby it can fill the screen, and then we move on from there.
So yeah. I think that's fair enough. Okay, so the accreditation process, we get the inquiry. After we get the inquiry, we then request you and guide you on how to fill an application form, and you also fill in your agreement. An accreditation is an agreement between us and you, the body that is getting accredited, right? So then after you fill in the form, you submit together with all the documents that we require you to fill in. You then have made a formal application, and then we look at your application. So we look at the application and whether it's complete, and that is now what we call the application review. Then we acknowledge and say, hey, we have gotten your application, it is complete. We are now moving to the next step to find out how much we will need to do. So we do the document review, the document review from your application to understand what is your scope, what activities do you have, And then we give you a feedback on this. We tell you, we're now ready. We will come on site to do the assessment. And that is where we look at the competence of the people doing. So we actually witness. So first we go through your documentation, and then we witness you doing your test or your activity or your conformity assessment activity. We tell you how much it is going to cost. After you pay, we come on site, we witness. And then we prepare a report and we tell you, step by step, this is where you have an issue, here you're getting it wrong, or here you need to improve. And we give you a report that has all the non-conformities that we have found. And for you, we give you, when you're a first timer, we give you 3 months to address those non-conformities and submit before a decision is ultimately made. Yeah, from that, and you submit all your corrective actions or your corrective and preventive action plan. We review that, make a decision to grant you the accreditation. And now it's not over from there. It actually is, it takes for us to communicate that decision. We give you the certificate and your schedule, which spells out the details of which are the areas that we have confirmed competence in. 6 months after that, and then annually, we do also undertake the periodic surveillance, just to make sure you're still keeping in line with what is the requirement, okay? Now, I have moved, I hope you can see. What are the timelines in all this? We give you a feedback after receiving your application in 5 working days. We process your application within 60 days, which means we're looking at all your documents, how much we will need, what time we will do the working within 60 days. And even in this time, we might say, oh, you need to submit extra documents. So those 60 days are for any additional information required. Then we give you also a feedback from that document review, which is within 10 working days of complete submission. And then we do the assessment report after we go on site within 10 working days, and we then communicate the CAPAs within 10 days after the assessment. Closeout is expected within 3 months. I talked about 3 months after the first time we come to your site, and within 1 month after we come and do the periodic surveillance. Now, what do I need to be completed? And I think this is a very important fact. Now, first, you need to document your quality management system. What does it look like? How do you receive samples? Who's responsible? Who does tests? Who's responsible? What are they trained in? Where they sit? All that. And make sure that you have competent personnel. So it must be evidence that they have been trained in not just the standard, but also in the work that they do. Then you have equipment that is properly maintained and calibrated so that it is continually working as per expected. And you need to also show compliance with safety and legal requirements. You have to be a legal entity. Of course, legal entity means when I see briefcase, you have to have an established office, registered, business registered, and you're paying taxes actively. Then the methods have to be validated. Did I hear a hand?
Yes, from Ian.
Yes, Ian.
Just to reiterate your point, and I need everyone to listen to this very keenly. When you're going to get your equipment calibrated, you have to ensure that the people who are calibrating your machines are accredited by us. Don't go to any calibration body, a company which deals with calibration, which is not accredited. If it is not accredited, that means that you do not trust their competence. Kindly note that. Lucy, you can go on. Sorry for cutting you short.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. I like the ringer on Google Meet. At least it tells you somebody has raised their hand. Then you must have validated methods. And we train you on what is the meaning of validation of a method and a procedure, and how do you verify your methods. That is something you need to come and come on board for us to train you on. For every activity that you say we test X, Y, and Z, you must also participate in a proficiency testing round, which means you must have proficiency test results from an accredited proficiency test provider, or there are other criteria, but we can only train you on that when you come on board. Yeah, so the requirement at the time of application is proficiency testing or certified reference material, which is also an accreditation scheme that KENAS is working towards. That reference material provider has also got to be an accredited provider. Then when you are ready and you have prepared all your documents, you then prepare a cross-reference checklist. For example, to ISO IC 17025, meaning it is to explain to us how have you implemented the requirements of every one of the clauses in that standard. Okay. We've talked a lot now about accreditation, but I think we can now focus on the benefits of accreditation in the food industry. First, I'm sure we all know it enhances consumer confidence. Yeah, it ensures food safety goals and objectives can be met, and they meet recognized international standards. It also improves risk management, because then whatever results you're getting from the test that you have done can be used to improve your management system, your food safety management system, to strengthen detection of whether it be hazards or enhance traceability and corrective action processes, or even detection before they are in place. That means preventive action. And then it also provides us market access and trade facilitation, because remember, accredited certification, now this is another conformity assessment activity. When you say you have a certificate for this, to say, this is how I am, or I have complied with the requirement, when it is accredited, it is recognized across borders without a need for recheck, retest, reinspect, as it were. You also have an opportunity of continuous improvement and accountability and compliance, whether it be meeting the requirements of ISO 22000, which becomes then an implementation of a certain certification requirement, or HACCP. We all know about HACCP, and this is also part of implementation of product certification. So ultimately, governments then have ease in facilitating trade, efficiency in enforcement, but for you in businesses, you have reduced need for retesting, re-inspection, which means your products then are ultimately accepted much, much easier across borders, and you have you're then using test results or test outcomes to make informed decisions, and ultimately consumer confidence. And finally, the big announcement. We welcome you to the International Accreditation Conference. It's the first of its kind. And you can register, you can register as an exhibitor. We call you on board to come and exhibit your products, your services, your innovations, because we also are calling for abstracts. All the stories that you have in your industry, I think that is a story to be heard. Not just that, but also as local manufacturers or local producers, we want to hear about some of the stories, some of the insights that you have seen to actually implementing this. You can visit our website, and this is on www.kenas.go.ke, and register, see more information on that international conference, and always get back to us. We have all the social media handles that you can get in touch with us. Most sincerely, my sincere apologies for this mishap and hiccup on presentation, but I hope it's been insightful and educative, and you've gotten something. I thank you most sincerely.
Yes, Ian has raised a hand. Before
So-
I speak,
Ian, yes, please, Ian, go ahead. He's
Thank
also
you.
very passionate about the conference.
we can
Yes.
see.
Yeah, the conference will be an opportunity for you and your organization to basically partake and also market yourself. I wanted to add something that Lucy might have shared, but I think it's very important for members to understand the importance of being accredited specifically by Kenya Accreditation Service. We are internationally aligned. We are, I can see Naomi Ndoke is asking a very valid question. I'm going to answer that, Naomi.
Yes, yeah.
We are internationally aligned to ILAC. Now, ILAC is called the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation. They are the ones who provide basically guidance to accreditation bodies when we are going to accredit. Now, the importance of being aligned internationally to ILAC, for example, and I'm starting with ILAC because we are also internationally aligned to IAF, that is the International Accreditation Forum. ILAC, in context of us being scientists, ILAC deals with accreditation of laboratories, and they are the ones who give us guidance and normative documents, which we, as an accreditation body, are supposed to align to. IAF is the International Accreditation Forum. The International Accreditation Forum focuses on accreditation bodies who accredit certification bodies, inspection bodies, and verification bodies. I'll give you an example of a verification body. For example, Kenya Airways will come and state that in the year 2024, they emitted 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide from all their trips. Then there will be a verification body which will come to verify that environmental statement. I hope everyone is listening to me clearly. Now, that verification body will be accredited by KENAS. Remember, one of the key things that Madam Lucy stated was accreditation focuses on competence. So how competent is that person who's working for the verification body when they are verifying KQ's environmental statement? Because KQ can come and say, we have released 1 billion tons of CO2, but how sure are you that that statement, that environmental statement, is correct? So you come as Catherine or Cyril or Peter, you go and verify. And verification is like, how many trips have you done? What was the weight? Because the more heavy the airplane, the more CO2 emissions will be released. However, I don't want to go into technical terms, but I'm trying to reiterate one thing, that being accredited by KENAS means that you as a conformity assessment body or a lab in general, you will be internationally recognized. That means the result that comes from your lab, there's no need for retest. Your results will be deemed valid internationally. So if that result goes to Finland, then they see the accreditation mark of KENAS. They will trust the results of your conformity assessment, of your lab in general. Now, I know time has moved, and I think it's important for the other speakers to speak. I would actually really want to get a feedback from some of you on what you understand in terms of a difference of accreditation and certification. Please feel free to ask any question you want before we move to the next. Because for me, I think it's very important for you people to understand the difference between accreditation and certification before we move forward. Anyone?
Yes, and some have already put that in the chat. We are seeing, okay, Adhiambo Joy has said certification is a compliance with the system. And then accreditation is confirmation of competence. International recognition is necessary. Peter Mashari has also said certification is compliance with the system, and accreditation is the confirmation of a competence.
Okay, let's start with Naomi, because I remember I stated that I'm going to answer her question.
Yeah.
Naomi asked, how do you know if the companies are accredited? So what usually happens is when an organization is accredited, whether it's a certification body, or let's just talk about labs, because majority of us here are scientists, they usually have what we call an accreditation mark. That accreditation mark shows that they are accredited to us, to a specific ISO standard. Then another thing, Naomi, when you go to our website, we have a list of accredited conformity assessment bodies, whether it's a testing lab, whether it's a medical laboratory, whether it's a certification body, and so on and so forth. So you will know. You just go to our website, and we have a list of accredited conformity assessment bodies. Peter Sirome, what are the requirements and cost of accreditation? Peter, Lucy touched on that because she talked about the accreditation process in terms of the requirements that we are supposed to have. However, Peter, because of time, please go to our website. Our website has the whole accreditation process and all the requirements that you need to have. I think you might have missed out on Lucy's presentation. There's a part where she actually really highlighted the requirements that a conformity assessment body should have to be accredited. Shelmit is asking, is it a must that all labs in Kenya choose KENAS as an accreditation body, or is there a choice as long as you're accredited? Well, what happens now, there is a business amendment law which got passed in December 2024. And it states that all conformity assessment bodies in this country shall, and shall in ISO language is a must, it's mandatory. You have to be accredited. It's a process which is ongoing. Remember, when new regulations have to pass, we, as per law, there has to be public participation, whereby all stakeholders have to be there. So we are currently in the process of doing a public participation. We're going to do it around between September 15th and 30th. So that
maybe Ian, I can also add on that. I think hers
Yes.
is a very unique, important question. I see the second part, or there is a choice as long as you are accredited. Now, we as KENAS are implementing the business laws you heard Ian talk about. But those business laws also indicated that all conformity assessment bodies operating in Kenya must be accredited by the service. If you're accredited by a foreign body, meaning you choose an accreditation body outside the KENAS, you then have to go through an application. It's like an approval to get that accreditation. So which means it's going to be still an extra cost on you. Why is this important? I think it's good that we all know that as members of ILAC, and I like that Ian reiterated more on that, we are also implementing a cross-frontier policy, which means what? It means that every accreditation member that is a signatory member of those international arrangements is the same. It doesn't matter whether it is the KENAS, as long as they are members of the signatory member arrangement, members of ILAC, or the UK body, or the European body, or as long as we are all members, signatory arrangement members, then we are deemed the same, which means that there is no body that is more superior to the other. All right. And that is why we strive so hard also. We also get evaluated to make sure that we maintain the required standard and status of this signatory membership. All right? Maybe that has clarified a little better. So the public participation Ian is talking about is about the regulations that are implementing what the government through Parliament said it is now mandatory. Okay? Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
That is comprehensive.
So Adhiambo, Joy Adhiambo was asking, how does accreditation link with compliance to KEBS, Ministry of Health and international bio requirements? So what happens is KEBS is a conformity assessment body to us. Now, we accredit KEBS because KEBS are a certification body. See, they certify products. For example, when you go to the supermarket and you're going to buy milk or water, that product will have what you call an S mark. That S mark, on our side, we accredit KEBS to ISO IEC 17065. That is a standard which we use to accredit certification bodies which deal with product certification. So when it comes to compliance, Joy, when you talk about KEBS, for example, we accredit them to that specific standard, which is product certification. Remember another thing, Joy, KEBS also have testing laboratories, because how can you certify a product if you don't test it? So you're going to they're going to come and take a sample of your product. For example, you're manufacturing water and you're putting it into the market. We also accredit them to ISO IEC 17025. So they comply to those specific standards to which we accredit them. There's usually a very big, and I like the fact that Joy asked that question. There's a huge confusion when it comes to KEBS and KENAS. KEBS are a certification body, and they are regulators in their own way. However, KENAS is an accreditation body, and that's why I was very adamant that it's important for us to understand the difference between accreditation and certification. Accreditation focuses on competence of individuals, as Lucy said, who carry out conformity assessment activities like testing, certification, inspection, verification. So I'll give you, you've stated Ministry of Health. We have accredited, Lucy, just tell me if I'm right, we have accredited this union for doctors, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. Yes, we have accredited them.
About it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because you see, KMPDU, it's a council or a union? It's a council, I think. KMPDC, yeah, KMPDC, they certify that this specific person is a medical doctor or a dentist. So that means they carry out certification. So we also accredit them. So we touch all, KENAS touches nearly all the major sectors in this country, whether it is transport, because NTSA, see, they inspect vehicles, so they have to be accredited. When it comes to manufacturing and industry, majority of the manufacturing sector, they have to test their materials. They are accredited by us under ISO 17025. There's a lot you guys can learn when you come to our website, a lot. And I like the fact that you guys are asking very valid questions, and we really appreciate that. Ranges is asking, after certification by bodies such as KEBS, does that still mean you're accredited? No. If you're certified by KEBS, you have to ensure that the specific conformity assessment activity which you are being certified to, that KEBS itself is accredited by us. If you want to be internationally recognized, certification is just part of the pillar of quality infrastructure. Accreditation is the pillar of quality infrastructure anywhere in the world. Franklin, are the trainings part of the accreditation or are they charged separately? They are charged separately, Franklin. Training, you will be trained depending on what your requirements. However, I always tell people, if you want to be accredited, it's important for you and your staff to be trained first so that you understand the requirements of the standard. So, for example, if you're in a testing laboratory which deals with, of course, food, it will be very imperative for you to be trained on ISO IC 17025, so that by the time you're applying for accreditation, you understand the requirements of the standard. So it becomes even easier. Accreditation is, and there's another speaker who's going to come, and his laboratory where he works in is undergoing accreditation right now. Accreditation is not easy, I won't lie to you. It is not. However, if you understand the requirements of the standard, it becomes easier. That's why I always tell people who are in conformity assessment roles, be trained first. Have an understanding of the requirements of the standard, so that when you're applying for accreditation, it is very, very easy for you. Joyce is asking, this is the last one. Can I be certified on a personal level, just like we get certified for ISO? Yes, you can. There is person certification, Lucy, if I'm not wrong. Lucy?
Certification of persons is actually where you would anchor yourself in, but you as an individual human being would need to be a member or certified or registered by a body such as KPDC, who are now accredited. Now, we're still working to have the Nursing Council. I think they're in process, the engineers body, and many other professional bodies getting accredited. So really, you see, you must ask yourself, is my professional body accredited? That is it. And those are the ones that you can now say, I'm a person who is registered by an accredited certification body. Thank you.
Lucy, I have a question there. Like in the food industry, which body do I have to be affiliated with now so that I can also be certified? Since the medical doctors have those KMPDUs and the likes, is there like a accredited professional body for the food industry?
For the food industry, I know there are several associations or bodies. There is IUFOST. They are not accredited by us. We would have told you about it. There is also there is the Kenya Chemical Society. There is also the Environmental Society. Those are not accredited yet. So it is up to us to ask ourselves and our associations, why aren't you accredited by KENAS? There's a question, check the lab that is, check that the lab is accredited to carry out all tests I need. Is that true? True. Yes, that is true. Because if you're carrying out just one test that is accredited, but all the others are not, what does that mean? You cannot really be so assured of the outcome or of the credibility or of the competence indeed that went behind that test. Shelmith is saying, I've noticed KENAS has removed a list of technical signatories, the list of technical signatories from their website. We don't actually put technical signatories on the website. Could you please explain why? For it was, no, it is not the case. We do not put technical signatories on the website because that is a process that also goes on and they could change from time to time. Yeah, so technical signatories will be sent to an entity at the time of on-site assessment to get concurrence. A question on international buyer requirements. I think in international buyer requirements are also what we call private standards, something like global gap. KENAS has also now accredited some bodies to ISO 17025 plus global gap. So there will be a body, a local body that is able to do that. And I urge all of us to really just look at the website. We'll get all the details on who is accredited, who is not. You know, it's also dynamic. You can also be suspended if you don't meet the requirements of the accreditation standard. Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Health issue. How do we link? We actually would accredit the labs that are authorized by Ministry of Health or now SHA to undertake tests. And you know, this is very critical because you can imagine if you go to a quack lab, quote unquote quack lab, I keep being asked, why do you guys keep quack labs registered? But it's not us who register labs, it's KMLTTB. So KMLTTB needs to make sure that the labs that are operating are not quack labs, they are accredited. The law is now in place, they will all have to get accredited. And that is something that we're looking forward to making sure it happens. Ministry of Health has also developed what is called the Kenya Quality of Medical Health, KQMH standard, which is an accreditation scheme that we are working on to develop so that hospitals can actually get that accredited. It would be a form of a certification scheme that supports hospitals also not to be quacky hospitals, right? I hope it has answered. Aviambo Joy, you had quite a number of intriguing questions there. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Just hold it there, Lucy. Now that you've mentioned suspension and withdrawal, can you clarify for us the difference between these two?
Now, an accredited body like a lab can be suspended. I talked about having to sign on to the agreement, accreditation agreement. Now, the accreditation agreement also has terms and conditions, obligations of a conformity assessment body that is accredited by KENAS. What are the terms that they need to keep? There are rules to it. You must make sure that you remain competent, you remain with the personnel. Don't get people part-time, get accredited, and then, kazi imefanyika, go. You know, that is not right. You must inform KENAS of your goings on in your organization. Then you must also pay the requisite fees. We have a fee that is charged every year so that we, one, maintain you on the website, but also two, provide you with the opportunity of marketing material for your entity and for yourself that you would like to say, hey, I'm accredited. We advise you on what kind of marketing material you can use. So if you do not meet the requirements spelled out in the agreement, then you get suspended. Suspension is a period that takes place 6 months. You're suspended for 6 months until you do what you did wrong. You can also, by the way, get suspended if you do not meet technical requirements, like we are coming for a surveillance. You don't want to be assessed. You refuse or you don't respond. Hey, let me say it now. Look, the gentleman is not, or the lady is not cooperating as outlined in the agreement. I think we better do what? Suspend. It's also a reduction of risk on our part. Then, if the suspension goes on beyond the stipulated time in the law, you then get withdrawn, which means kwaheri ya kuonana. You then have to reapply afresh. You start anew, like a new client, like what you would have done when you are applying the first time round. Now, maybe, Catherine, I want to encourage everybody here. If anybody here has a lab that wants to start the process of accreditation, please share with them my email. I will make sure that I personally visit you so that we discuss with you some of the things you need to do. We advise you on some of the ways in which you can get accredited. We work with you to make sure you comply with the law. Remember, it's now law. We don't want people to be caught off guard. We are here to assist you. So please reach out. Thank you.
Yes. Now you've talked about people wanting to be accredited. Remember the steps you had told me? There's something you had told me previously that you're coming up with to ease the process.
Yes. A
Yes.
stepwise approach. So
yes.
this stepwise approach is something that I think when you participate in the public participation, please support it because it will really help a lot of small businesses, MSMEs, and even people starting out in accreditation. It's going to be very good. Yeah. John, I can see your hand, and it's not a consultation because it's still the same process. We break it down for you. We walk you through. Maybe we start with one training. We tell you go. We give you a timeline. Then you come back. We give you another. Under the same arrangement that we do, but we now actually have more open process with you so that you don't fall along the wayside. John, I see your hand. You want to ask your question?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question on the regulatory. Let's say KENAS. KENAS is an accreditation provider, right?
Is the only
Hello.
accreditation body. Yes, it is the only accreditation body for Kenya.
Is that at any one point that it becomes like a regulatory body, other than just
Yes.
being an accreditation?
Yes, yes, it is now a regulatory body in the classification of the government that the government has given us, because in this we are also providing advisory for regulatory agencies on how they can use accreditation to make their regulation easier. And when you look at it, if you are providing accreditation for regulatory purposes, we then become what we're being called now as super regulators. Why? Because without the function of accreditation, then regulation becomes hampered or it is not achieving what it was intended to. So, yes, I know it's a point of thought for people thinking, but you are a service. But now, if you also look at even UCAS, the UK one, they have been fashioned in the same way. They offer mandatory accreditation. And for anybody operating in the territory, you must be accredited. And for regulators, they then also use them a lot to make sure that they can achieve good regulation, good regulatory practice through accreditation. So I think that basically is what spells out the scenario that we're now operating in as super regulator. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Yeah, okay, because I was just having a confusion on KEBS being the implementer on regulation, on regulatory, and also KEBS now comes in as an accreditor at the same time a regulatory body. Or would
KEBS
it
is
be
not
like
an KEBS is not an accreditation body. KEBS is
in line with regulatory?
A regulator. In what instance? In implementing the agreement on technical barriers to trade, just like KENAS is. But KENAS, remember, is an accreditation body. Kenya Bureau of Standards is a conformity assessment body. Now, this is a confusion because one of the pillars of the quality infrastructure is the standards. Standards, regulatory agencies, accreditation body, and all the conformity assessment bodies that go with that. So as a regulator, KEBS being a regulator in making sure companies comply with the standards requirement for the local industry, it is a conformity assessment body. And that's why Ian told you, KEBS is accredited by KENAS. So it cannot be an accreditation body. There can only be one in a territory, although some territories like US have two, but they have specific distinct roles. Yeah. I hope, John, it's clearer.
Yeah, it's clear, but I only had an issue, not on accreditation, on regulatory, on KEBS being a regulatory body, and also at the same time, KENAS also purporting to be the same regulatory body, but now on a superior level.
Right. We have several regulatory bodies in Kenya. We have NTSA is a regulatory body. We have Ministry of Health in itself as the Kenya Quality of Health as regulator. We have SHA. We have KQMH. No, Kenya Medical and Dentist Practitioners Council, KMPDC, is a regulator of all doctors who practice in the country. So a regulatory body is a body that looks at a specific function and expected outcome within a sector. So there would be those in transport, those in the building industry, as well, that there is the Ministry of Health that now has the new building code. But remember, those regulators anchor their activities on a certain law, but to enable them implement that law, they might say, for us to achieve a specific requisite quality standard, we want all people who are certifying or all people who are inspecting our roads, like NTSA has said, to be accredited by KENAS. And that's what has done. All people who are operating way bridges in Kenya must be accredited by KENAS. And that's what NTSA has and KENHA has also done. All people who are building bodies of buses in Kenya, the bus body builders, must be accredited by the authority that is looking at bus bodybuilders. So all bus bodybuilders first must be registered, and then that body is then the body that is accredited. Okay, so regulation in itself is a function to actualize something, but the accreditation is a core that looks at competence in that whole process. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. What brought about that is the issue on about the SANAs and the KENAS having an issue with the region and the customers who are willing to like be accredited by SANAs being like forced to accredit themselves with KENAS. Again,
Under the new law, I think it is it was not 10A but 10B, the Business Amendment Laws Section 2410B. Now, anybody that is accredited by a foreign body, I think, Parliament looked at it this way. If we can spend resources to actually give business to accreditation bodies outside of Kenya, yet we have KENAS, that we have really built competence and the taxpayers' money to have an institution that is an accreditation body that is recognized internationally operating, why should we drain foreign resources, perhaps, going to a body, and yet they are the same. It is the same accreditation, the same expectation of the two accreditation bodies. They are all recognized. So this is why that law said that anybody who is accredited by a foreign body operating in Kenya must apply for that exemption. And that exemption is conditional because then ultimately, after the cycle, what we call a cycle of accreditation, it must then be accredited by KENAS. So even if it is that a body is accredited by SANAS right now, they are going through what is called exemption, and they have to pay for that exemption. In that, we are still providing a service to them to attest. I think you have heard of these cases that are going on, that went on last year. We had bodies, people talking about edible oil. Is it okay? It's not okay. Is it meeting requirements? Is it meeting standard? And that is what I think really was a mind opener of, you mean you cannot tell us about this because someone else has accredited them and yet they are operating in Kenya using taxpayers' money? Oh, then perhaps there's a need for us to think, and the further thought that they had was to make sure that bodies operating in the territory under the purview of KENAS. I hope it's clearer now. Thank you. It's a long explanation, but it's important for people to just understand the background so that it doesn't confuse you. Thank you.
Okay, it's very clear. Thank you a lot. And I would suggest you also do like an awareness so that people get filled in with the new and the whatever that is at play. Thank you.
That is going to happen, John. I mentioned that we are actually doing a public participation between 15th and 30th of September. We haven't put a specific date yet, but we are going to. And the main regions which we are going to do it, of course, it will be in Nairobi. Another one will be in Mombasa. And another one will be in Embu. That one will be capturing the eastern region. Of course, Mombasa for the coastal regions, and Nairobi, of course, considering it's the capital. Personally, I'll be honest with you, I personally went and met with the county commissioners of Embu, Mombasa, Nairobi, and they were very willing to assist us in getting the required stakeholders, because we can have our stakeholders who are conformity assessment bodies. However, we need people like PWDs, youth, and women to be part and parcel of that public participation, because there is a set criteria which is put aside. And like, for example, persons with disabilities have to be there. If they are not there and you've done the public participation, it will be taken as if it's null and void. However, thank you so much for your question. That was a very valid question. And just know, because I'm hoping, John, you're based in Nairobi.
Yeah, I'm actually based in Nairobi.
You're based in Nairobi. When we are going to get the date, we are going to put it in our LinkedIn and Twitter. We're going to provide the specific date, and I expect each and every single person who's been in this webinar to make sure that you come. If you're not in Nairobi, try it in Mombasa or Embu. And I think it's very imperative for you, because you are major stakeholders as well, as all of us being scientists. It's very important for your views to be shared in that public participation. So, John, I hope you've been answered by Lucy. Madam Lucy, I think she answered you properly.
Okay, it's okay. I'm comfortable.
Okay, Catherine, you continue. Unmute, Catherine. Catherine, unmute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I know it's a whole lot to unpack in just 1.5 hours. And there's still a lot more to learn. KENAS is always here. We can always organize more sessions on this if you so desire. And it's been insightful. So I want the next person to present before we continue. And then later, everybody will give us their parting shot. So I hope Cyril is here. Cyril, are you there? I saw you prepared some slides. That will also make my work easier.
Okay, hello.
Yes, Cyril. Cyril joins us from Clarity Standards Laboratory. He's going to tell us how their journey towards accreditation has been, and basically what they do is Clarity Standards Lab. What tests do they perform? Cyril, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and thanks to everyone who is here right now, and also the KENAS for giving us insights that we all need. So at this juncture, I feel like the time has gone, but and also again, apart from the issue of time, everything, like almost everything that was in my slide has been discussed. So it's just about to tell you what stage we are right now with accreditation, and maybe now we can go specific to specific questions so that I answer it directly instead of repeating what has been said by the seniors. So I may wish to start by saying that Clarity Standard Laboratory is a testing laboratory which started its operation in last year, that is June 2024. So we started our journey there, and our objective is safeguarding the public health through accurate, timely, and globally benchmarked analytical testing service. So when we come to the point of globally benchmarked analytical testing service, it means that we have to be accredited with a regulatory body or accreditation body, so that we make sure that our objective is fulfilled, which is to be benchmarked, to be a globally benchmarked analytical testing service. Okay, so about that, then we have our values, and those are just the values that we have to uphold while doing all this, the operation, the testing, and all the processes. And then about the next thing I'm supposed to talk about is the certification process or the accreditation process. So we did our application. So as I said, that the lab started operation on June 2024. So at that time, it's when we just started it officially, but now we are still gathering what we need to have and everything that we need to do so that we get accredited, or at least be recognized in the market, both nationally and internationally. Yeah. So we did our due diligence, we followed the processes, and eventually, when it came to May this year, we submitted our final application, and fortunately enough, we had the KENAS do their processes quickly or fairly, and by 26th of June of 26th of July, we had the assessors come to on site, and the assessment was done for 3 to 4 days. So from 26th to 30th thereabout. And then next is the report, which is out already, and the non-conformities and everything. So we have already closed that, and now we're just waiting for and we have submitted also the evidences, that is from the non-conformities and everything, and also the areas of improvement. So we have submitted the evidences, and now it's the assessors to go through it again and review if that is what they expected from our end. And then from there, they can now submit it to KENAS, who are now going to make the decision. So it's like just covering all the processes of certification that has been described earlier there. So we are, I feel like it's fair to say that we are in the last stage, and that is fulfilling to see where the journey we have been in, and how far we have come. So with everything on that, there are always challenges that comes with it. So one of the challenges is that if you have a small team of technical staff, you'll need to be stretched a little bit every now and then, because you have to balance your testing work, and then implementing also the ISO. And with ISO, there is a lot of documentation, that is for sure. So there's a lot of documentation there that you always have to, for you to make sure that you align with the processes, you'll always have to have the documents there ready, whether they are in physical or they are soft copy. So challenge comes in when you have to do the testing, because we are operational, and then you also have to do to implement the ISO 17125 to align with the processes and everything that is required of us. And then again, when you have the small workforce, there's a way. So you find that our staff are trained to do internal audits, something of that sort. So when you are few, you can't do that by yourself. So you need to hire consultants. So that brings about the financial side of it. So the cost of accreditation is also, I can say I can say boldly that it's a bit expensive, but I think with better organization, if you are well organized, I think there's no fear in that. And then also the budget for trainings and external service providers. You see, when you need something, when you need somebody to do for you, like a consultant in that case, who you always refer to, you always go through to before you do your submission and everything, just to provide guidance. You also have to pay for that, yeah. And then there's also delays due to financial constraint. You see, when you do the internal audit, or maybe now like the assessment has been done, and now you have non-conformities which must be closed, or at least demonstrated that are closed before you are certified, accredited. So when you don't have the finances to fulfill what is needed, then it becomes a big challenge. So the timeline keeps stretching, and it stretches you thin until you can't survive anymore. But here we are. So again, on technical issues, the challenges, one of them is about the PT. You see, there is it is required of us that whenever you want to be accredited, you must participate in PT, in proficiency testing, that is. And so outside here, the PT providers, some of them are within our reach, but some of them are way, and they are very far away from us. And they operate with different timelines and with different matrices. So sometimes getting the matrix that suits your scope is very difficult, which is which brings a lot of headache here and there. And then again, I'm happy that I saw KEBS have been accredited for PT, proficiency testing, that is. And I think that we are going to depend on them most of the time, because now they are here with us. We can always complain. We can always get at fair prices compared to the other PT providers. And sorry, is somebody trying to communicate?
Not really, just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, and again, with now that KEBS has been accredited for PT, it means that we can now get matrices that are tailored within our needs. Because initially you do PTs with providers who are not based in Kenya or maybe in Africa. So some of them are like in France or the UK or the US, and their matrices have not been tailored within what we need here. So with us getting it in Kenya, that would be a very good feeling for us and those who are in the industry. Yeah. And then again, there's a challenge also that I've noticed, which may sound unfair or fair, but it is what it is. So one of the things is the challenges is the assessment and corrective action, the process. There is always a back and forth where you do this, you get the non-conformities, then you have to do the corrective actions, maybe root cause analysis and everything before you can complete your process. So you find that it's a good thing that the assessors or the technical assessors are people who always people who interact with the lab activities in their day-to-day. So it's easy, they know what is going through. Sorry, they know what is going on in the process and the system, so they easily understand. So it's a good thing. But now the challenge comes because these people they don't leave their jobs after doing the assessment. So it means they have to do both their regular jobs and also work on your progress. So with that, you find that sometimes you expect your their response to be a bit quick or maybe just within the timeline. But sometimes I think they might be overwhelmed in a way. So this brings about you have to push every now and then. You ask, okay, where have we reached with these? Where are we doing this and this? So with that, I think it's a challenge, yes, but it's an advantage that these people are within the lab on a daily and everything. But when it comes to time, when we have pressure here that we need this certificate by this, and that is in our planning. So you find that these people, they are unable to maintain the timeline, or maybe unable to satisfy us as per our rush or everything. So about that, I think those are the challenges we have faced majorly. And then there are always lessons learned along the way. So if I were to advise somebody who has not started the process of accreditation and be willing, one thing I tell you is always have your plans, do your planning properly, and have a checklist of everything, so that every time you do something, every time you do something, you check, you mark it as tick and everything, and always keep track of everything that you need to do. And also, as it was mentioned earlier that there are requirements, so you have to make sure that, okay, have I calibrated all my equipment, have I done this and this? So you have to do a proper planning. Yeah. And then again, something which I noted is that initially, you see, if you've been operational and for some time, right, for some time now, and then now you want to start the journey of accreditation, I feel like you should always start the process as soon as possible, because now with this, you find that somebody was used to handling certain things a certain way, but now we're introducing something almost new to what your system has been operating on. So it is good to start it as soon as possible for the adaptability of the staff, personnel around there. And I think the transition will be much easier or smooth, if I can say so. And then again, I would advise networking. So you can always share with the colleagues or those people in the same industry as you, so that they always get you always get what is going on there, how to adapt and everything that comes with it. So I think that is maybe what I can say for now. And again, the benefits have been explained by the senior. So they are just, I won't repeat them, and unless somebody has a specific question for me, I think with that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you for that comprehensive presentation, Cyril. Maybe one question I have for you is there something KENAS would have done differently to make your process a bit seamless?
Okay, so with KENAS, I think they have done their part, but with something they can do a bit different is, I feel like this sensitization, the webinars, conferences, there should always be like something to be of regular, yeah, because you find that I think I've just over the past 1 year, I think maybe I've just heard of one. So with this one is a good start. So we, as the TechPalate insights, so bringing them to us before, instead of us going to them. Now this is a good idea, and I think they can always increase the number of sensitization, the conferences, our webinars to teach. You see, we have just had like a 1 hour conversation with the head of lab or the chief, and we have had like 20 questions. So you see, if we do this on a regular basis, we will trim down the number of questions and inquiries, and people will be aware of that in a better way. So I think that answers it.
Amazing. I know they've had you, and I know we'll be collaborating more, doing more of this. And yeah, Ian.
Hi, Cyril.
Hello.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
In your opinion, yeah?
Yes.
What was the most challenging part about the accreditation process, in your opinion?
So I've had like 3 major, which was the finances and the staff. So I think they are interconnected, but it starts with the staff, because for our laboratory we had a small team, so we have to balance everything. We have to balance everything from doing the daily testing work, and also working on the documentation. You have to submit everything, and also I just think it's the major one from my side was the staff.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. Because I actually even wanted to ask you, how many of your staff have been trained on? I'm guessing you're being accredited to ISO IC 17025.
Yeah.
How many of your staff have been trained on the standard?
So all the technical staff have been trained. Yes. So, and even two of them have been trained on internal audit. Yes. So for
that's
even measuring uncertainty and everything. So the trainings were done, which is okay.
Okay. And why I'm reiterating on that, it's
Yes.
usually very important and imperative. It makes you conform to the standard easier when you have an understanding of the requirements of the standard.
Yeah.
So you'd find there are situations whereby people want to be accredited, but you'd find maybe they have a team of 10 to 15 technical staff who are in the lab, but now you have 2 or 3 people who have been trained on the standard. You know that is a risk, and the chances of having a non-conformity is high, because at the end of the day, we all have worked in laboratories, and you can be competent, but if your colleague is not competent and has no understanding of the requirements of the standard, that usually brings risks to non-conformance. However, it's I can see that your team has been trained, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else has a question with Cyril before you wind up in the next few? And there is a last question for KENAS. I believe we'll have no more questions after this. I know we have a lot, but we can always organize more sessions. So there is a question from Kegode Johnston asking who certifies or regulates the accreditation bodies, and where do the testing and calibration labs get their equipment to be calibrated? That is to Lucy. Oh, yes, Lucy. Joyce is here, finally. Yes, Joyce. You've raised your hand? Or is that a mistake? Okay. John has raised his hand. John, just before you speak, maybe Lucy can answer this question, and then you can also ask your final question. Oh, okay. Accreditation bodies undergo peer evaluation. Sorry, I am now unable to speak. No worries, Lucy. John, you can go ahead. John?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I wanted to ask about the intern published accreditation schedules that you normally have on the website. I realized it's just normal. It's the certificate and the schedule. Normally, you don't capture the personnel, the competency, rather the competent personnel that have been awarded technical signatures, so that yes, in your system, in the system. So I was having that as a challenge in case, for example, I'm an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory, subscribed to a service provider for calibration, and I go check the personnel profile in the what do you call it, in the accreditation schedule, and they find him not there. So that traceability of that particular personnel tends to be somewhat compromised. And I initially used to have it, but currently I noticed quite a number you guys are not sharing that. I don't know whether that is of concern or the
So, John,
that you
sorry.
have.
John, you're saying like when you're going to our website, you're not finding the names of the accredited conformity assessment bodies and personnel.
I'm saying when you accredit a facility, you normally have a technical signatory, and you normally highlight those on the accreditation schedule. Initially, you used to do that, but currently that doesn't play.
Okay. Thank you for that, John. I'll follow up on it. There are people who actually focus on that on our end. I'll focus on that. I'm not aware of that actually. I'm hearing it from you now, but I'll follow up and get back to you via Catherine.
Actually, even just checked it right away. It's the same. Still, it hasn't changed. I thought maybe you had reviewed it, it's not changed.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll follow up personally.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think Joyce is having an issue with her audio. I don't know whether she's able to. Joyce Gichuru is a manager at Scheme Development Training and Advocacy. Basically, she's in charge of the schemes being developed, accreditation schemes being developed in our organization, training, and of course, advocacy, which is marketing. I don't know whether she still has technical issues with her microphone, but I would really want her to have a say in this meeting. Joyce is saying we can organize a training specifically to this group, especially if there are a smaller number of staff, as the in-house training will be higher, and they do not have to wait until the next open training. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. It's true. We can organize a training on the same. Yeah.
Why aren't you people cheering for such kind of news? You should clap, you should cheer. Yes, thank you, Jace. I wish you could unmute so that we can hear your voice after giving us such a lovely offer, but no worries. Okay.
Sorry, I'm not able to speak right now. I'm in a meeting, but the offer is open, please.
Sure. We can discuss more about that as we also organize this team for those interested. We get a quorum, and then now we agree on the way forward. Yes, this has been a really amazing session, and we couldn't have done it without all of you here today, without you who registered, and without KENAS, who took this so wholeheartedly. And as you can see, they've really delivered. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Joyce. It's been such an eye-opening conversation, and I believe it's just one of the many to come. Thank you, Cyril, for sharing your experience. At least we've heard from someone who is undergoing the process, and now we know that this isn't just theory, but it is something that people are actually applying. Mine is to just say thank you. And yes, send those invitations for that conference in Mombasa. For those public participations, you can always also see how to contribute to them. It's been lovely having you. Until next time, and I'm going to send you the recordings. If you register, definitely I have your email, so I'll send the recordings and the presentations to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I know Lucy is in a meeting, and I know Joyce is a bit held up technically, just a bit because of her microphone. So I will talk on behalf of KENAS, and we thank you so much for taking your time. This is a learning curve. We start from somewhere, and the most important thing is to understand the importance of accreditation, differentiate it from certification, and also this being and having an understanding of accreditation is a value add, even career-wise. Remember, at the end of the day, each and every one of us has their own personal career progression, which you want. And for you to adhere and conform to international standards gives you an advantage in the Kenyan market. And, let me tell you one thing, Kenyans are very bright. So you have to have that extra paper that shows that you have an understanding of requirements, international requirements when it comes to laboratory or whichever conformity assessment activity that you're dealing with. We want to work closely with you, and we are there to guide and train. And also, of course, for those people who are in laboratories which are not accredited, we would highly advise you to be accredited. As from me, Madam Lucy and Madam Joyce, we thank you so much for you to take your time It took longer than I expected, by the way. However, the fact that it's taken long, it showed that there was actually a lot of engagement and people really wanted to understand and learn. We will more than be willing to do another session like this. And I can see people are actually very, very interested in accreditation and conformity assessment. With that, I wish you all a very good afternoon and a lovely, productive day ahead.
Thank you,
I wish you all
Ian.
the best. See you guys.
See you next time. Bye. Bye, Shadrach. Bye, Faith. Bye, John. Bye, Lucy. Bye, Grace. Bye, Bravin. Bye, Bridget.